Hi friends, Allison here with the Everyday Scrapbooker, dropping in to share with you one card 3 different ways. I took cardstock from my craft stash, I cut them into strips and I created rainbows with it, and I created 3 different cards using the same process. The first one I showed you at the very beginning, I had already made that before I did any recording. I popped it through my embossing machine after I got the papers trimmed, and then I mounted it to a piece of white cardstock before putting it through my embossing machine along with an embossing folder, and I love that look with the embossing over the pattern papers. For this card, I changed the orientation of the papers so they diagonally span across the card. It's just a regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card, E2 card, and I didn't use all the papers out of the rainbow either. I took green, yellow, peach, and hot pink to create my rainbow, and then decided to embellish it with some hand doodled lines around the card base, and then I stamped some flowers, stamped the greeting, and then fussy cut the flowers out and mounted them with foam squares. So here is the stamp and the colors I'm using. I'm using the same colors that is already in the strips. I'm going to stamp the flowers out. First I start with green because I'll fussy cut that entire image out, and then after I clean it, I go back with the colors that I want to use for the actual flower portion of the stamp, and I fussy cut that portion out instead of the entire image. So it's 2 pieces, and I'll have the base, which will be all in green, and then just the flower, which will be whatever color I want. So one there is raspberry or hot pink, and the next one is peach, kind of a light orange color. So I just layered them together, figured out what felt the best. I found the greeting that I wanted to use. I'll stamp it and cut it into a pennant, cut it out, and then mount everything to the card base. I just mounted all of these papers directly to the card. I didn't mat them to like a mat first as a way to save paper, right? If you don't have to use paper, why take any out and use it anyways? The white card base was all that I needed for this card. So there is the foam squares. I'm going to pop both flowers up with the foam squares. I'm going to leave the one spot on the orange flower empty where it'll overlap the pink flower, and then add foam squares to the rest of it. Got those adhered. Next comes the greeting, and with that the card is done. Really simple, really quick, and it looks amazing. Oh, pardon me. I added a little bit of sparkle to the flowers as well with a clear shimmer brush. Close to My Heart. All the products that I used to create this card are from Close to My Heart. They're also scraps that I had in my stash, so this is a fantastic way to use up scraps of paper. Close to My Heart does have a new shimmer brush out. It's peach, so if you like that peachy color, then you don't have to use the clear shimmer brush. You can use the peach one. And if you noticed, I lied. I thought I just used the card base to adhere everything to, but apparently I didn't. That was a mat, and I mounted it to the card. So here is the last card and the third way to utilize paper strips. I wanted to use what was left of the papers from the second card that I created and make sort of a jagged edge, I guess. I don't know how best to describe it. Sort of a, well, you can see what I'm doing down there. The only thing that I would do differently with this card the next time I do it is I would make the paper strips quite a bit smaller. I feel like they're a bit too big. And it fills too much of the card up, and I wanted a bit more in hindsight, I wanted a bit more of the white space in the card than there is, but that's fine. It still looks great. I did the doodling around the card base again, like I did in the second card. I glued the paper strips to the card base. I found the greeting that I wanted, cut it into a little paper strip, matted it on black cardstock as well. And I'm going to throw some white enamel dots on it as well. So at this point, I thought the card was done. And I turned my camera off. I was going to go snap some pictures. And when I got upstairs, decided that I wasn't done. So I came back, grabbed my raspberry, my sapphire, and I think the clear shimmer brush again, and colored in just a few of the paper strips with the shimmer brush, just to add a little bit of sparkle to some of the papers, just to add a little bit of more, oh, I used the green one, not the clear, just to add a little bit more bling. So here's just a few close-ups of the cards that I made. I hope you enjoyed this really quick and simple tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope I see you here again really soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.